I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and today we're starting something special yet again because it is technically day 3 of round 1 of the international qualifiers for the 2026 Carcassonne Champions League, but it is day 1 in this particular qualifying tournament. So there are 4 qualifying tournaments, all 4 are made very differently with very different players and structures. Qualification 1, this is for everybody who came second in their national championships. Qualification 2, it is for everybody who came second in national championships of newer countries or who came third in their national championships. Qualification 3, it is for people who have won different international tournaments throughout the year. And qualification 4, and this is the tournament that is starting today. Wait, let me just reset. Yeah, there we go. And this is the qualification tournament that is starting today. It is for players who have the highest peak rating in 2025 on Board Game Arena. So basically the most players with consistent performance. And these, let's say there's a big overlap between these players and players who are the best in the world. And if you even think of ELO as the main metric, then these are in fact the best players in the world currently, or at least some of. So who do we have here? We first of all have, for the second year straight, David Bourdois with a screen name Defdine of Catalonia. For the first year, we have the Azul superstar from China with a screen name Phosphate. They've managed to make their ascent in Carcassonne very rapidly, nearly reaching 800 ELO. Finally, we have our fellow YouTuber Otto Ikonen with a screen name Nalaheim with a peak rating of over 850 from Finland, and he's going to be one of the 2 favorites in this tournament, along with the Japanese player with a screen name Rabbit Rain, who also is participating in this qualifier for the second year straight, and he actually won this qualifying tournament last year, defeating yours truly in a best of 3 2-1, and he even reached the semifinals where he lost 2-3 actually in a thrilling best of 5 encounter against also yours truly. Then a newer player, of course a newer on this list, not a newer in general, is the Mexican master Oscar Henny with a screen name IMD5, also in the upper 700s. And for the first time ever, we have one of the Portuguese masters, Afonso Cavaco, with a screen name not new at this, and clearly a very descriptive screen name. And now here we have a player who I think is kind of number 3 in terms of strength across this list. And this is none other than Penguin-EM, whom we shall affectionately refer to as Miss Penguin. She also participated in this qualifier and nearly won it. She actually lost only in the consolation final against yours truly. That was for the spot in the main stage. Yes, of course, for those of you who are just joining, this is the qualifying tournament which I did play myself last year, so that's why I want to devote special attention to it, because it's really interesting in many ways. Well, anyway, so we're going to talk about her a little bit later, and today she's going to be playing against Yaroslav Herasimenko with the screen name Lawyer, the only of the 3, the only player other than Nalaheim and Rabbit Rain to have reached a rating over 800 this year. Anyway, so of course the actual ratings of these players are now a little bit lower, but you can see Lawyer nearly 700, very consistent performance, nearly 13,000 games of experience, has appeared many times on this channel. And Penguin-EM has already managed to accumulate over 6,000 games, despite starting Carcassonne much later. She started Carcassonne only in 2023, so this is just amazing ascent. And by the way, for those of you who speak Chinese, you can also follow her YouTube channel where she does broadcasts and analyzes games in Chinese. I've had a pleasure of meeting her in person in Taiwan and play some over-the-board games, and she's very easily the strongest player in Taiwan. I can see like she thinks about the game super deeply. She's very aggressive in scoring at the start, very strong endgame calculation. But one of her weaknesses, I'm going to see if that's going to happen today or not, is maybe nerves on occasions. She tends to perform much, much better in casual games than she does in tournaments, and that's why her rating now, for example, is very high, or at least her peak rating is very high. From lawyers' perspective, I think it's not the most convenient pairing because this sort of open Eastern European, Ukrainian style of Carcassonne does not really go well with the bit more like closed, balanced East Asian sort of style. So I would put Miss Penguin here as the favorite. Lawyer, however, does have simply more tournament experience on his hands. Anyway, so Miss Penguin here is going to start with her traditional black meeples, Yaroslav with blue, to match one of the colors of the flag, I presume. And we already have 8 points on the scoreboard for black as a result of the completed road and city. There is a tied city over here in the center, which doesn't really benefit either party. So I guess it's just blue who mainly has interest to put a tile over here. There's, of course, only one tile that's remaining to fit into this square, so these sort of meeples cancel each other out. Lawyer has an open city over here, so overall a slight advantage for black, especially given the fact that being the starting player, she's going to have more advantage in the endgames. She starts a new city, tries to bully this here guy a little bit unsuccessfully, as Lawyer is going to finish the city and equalize. Finally getting himself something on the scoreboard. The first monastery has been drawn by black. She's probably going to go over here for 3 points. I don't really see anything better. Controlling the road, this is exactly what she does. City cap for Lawyer. Kind of a chance to get out of that mini battle, starting a new city. Of course, the one disadvantage is the creation of a second monastery spot next to black, but, you know, it's whatever. Yeah, Lawyer is also, to his advantage, is a very fast player, as are most Ukrainians, and Penguin does tend to take her time on the clock. And I presume that maybe Yaroslav could exert some time pressure a little bit later. Now a minute ahead, which is not such a big deal when you have 13 of those remaining, but let's see what the situation is a little bit later with that. Anyway, so we can see a blocking move here being made against this here blue meeple, and the empty city cap is being picked up just as Lawyer is munching on some quick points on the right, and now this meeple is in peril. On one hand, it is dangerous. On the other hand, even if you block it like this, there's still going to be 2 tiles. Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried just now if I were blue. So at the moment, I don't think I would even bother going over here protecting that meeple. I think I would... I mean, that's fine, but I think I would prioritize going over here. But this move is completely fine because it not only protects this here square, but it also opens some attacking platforms against this here guy. Now that we need them anyway because we're adding a quadruple city tile to our opponent. And this was actually a very committal decision made by Lawyer. I'm not sure if he thought that through because now that the quadruple city tile has gone over here to break blue's city, well then it's never going to go over here. And blue could now try and black could try and draw some tiles to fit into this square and develop her side of the ruin, whereas of course these here blue guys can offer no more expansion opportunities, so they're capped at the amount of points that they have. Interesting decision here from Lawyer. Not going to equalize the road of his opponent. Instead, he wants to make himself a long road. And he keeps building, and he does not really seem to care about the city all that much. And black just built herself this monstrosity, and it's pretty much almost impossible to do nothing about it. Yeah, with this here move, I think blue got a little bit too hasty, because normally in this CI configuration, when your opponent has an extender pointing outwards, like there's the threat of them covering up the city and making their last square very inaccessible. The standard move in this situation is with whichever tile you go here. And that way you play against two squares. You limit this here square, and you also create an attacking platform against this here square. And Lawyer didn't do that. Instead, he went for the road as compensation, and as a result, Black finishes herself an 18-point city like it's nothing. And she also now going to have herself a monastery cluster, which is just amazing. Or is she genuinely considering not meepling it? Of course she isn't. She just only needed to find the right button on her mouse. However, Blue finishes a longish road for 11 points, drops the first farmer of the game, and is only -7 on the scoreboard. Now, these monasteries, of course, are going to hurt. This road meeple is, in all likelihood, coming back at some point. And yeah, not sure exactly what you're supposed to do here if you're Penguin. Maybe you can think about this here city on the right, which looks a little bit broken, but not fully broken. We might want to do something about it. But at first she does this, and I'm not sure how much I like this. It is quite interesting, for sure. So the idea is to sacrifice some points, potentially, and also to protect her monasteries, to make sure that she finishes both of them. And she also has an opportunity to maybe block this square in the future, so that was her idea. She almost completes her monastery as the players exchange quick points. And Lawyer now extends his city, which normally looks like it's breaking its city, but actually he's just afraid of getting blocked. Ah, this is super smart, both from Penguin's part and from Lawyer. So the idea is that had he not done this, then Black would have gone over here and broken this city completely, because 1, 2, and somewhere there's a 3, right? No, there isn't a 3. Okay, so 2 out of the 3 daggers have gone out, so basically the city was very easily blockable, and we can see that Black is trying to block that city regardless, Lawyer is trying to defend, but even if that city is getting completed, the advantage on the scoreboard is just a little bit too much. Alrighty, hi Dummy, hi Tompa, hi Tomaso. I very much hope you don't get caught, but if you do, then tell your boss to join in. Hi Nalaheim. Saying that Penguin apparently had a chance to fully block her opponent's city. I must have missed that, because both players are playing pretty fast. I think Black's time management is pretty good. Lawyer has been mostly making reasonable moves, but there were a couple decisions which were a little bit too hasty. Alrighty. So what do we have here? This is a very nice block here by Lawyer, because there's no tile that fits into this square anymore. Yeah, you really don't think when you start a loop road like this, which is one of the safest possible features, that your opponent's going to end up building all the way around from the bottom and blocking you. But then given that she's 29 points ahead on the scoreboard, I don't think she's complaining at all. And probably what she's going to do right now, she might consider... I was going to say she might consider starting a new city, but she won't. She wants to block this guy instead, which is fine, I guess. Now, Blue needs to decide whether to go here and potentially defend that city. Maybe here, actually. Or maybe here, leaving one starting tile. Yeah, I guess we go here for the indirect defense if we want to defend, because basically there is one starting tile and one rows that fit here, so we have one type of each tile, one tile of each type. And that's why he goes for the indirect defense, basically not committing to any particular tile, but making it very hard and pretty much impossible for Black to play something into this square that would fully block that city. Now, another interesting tile here for Yaroslav. He could go over here, just get himself a couple of points, or he could maybe go over here and fill this square first, and then try to get a different tile to fit over here. Maybe that would be the way to go. He could also do nothing and just go over here and try to block Penguin's monastery instead. But I like the decision to not do any full blocking, not do any partial blocking just yet. He just does not have enough stuff on the scoreboard to afford this, and he does continue the city, get the 3 extra points. Black immediately comes in with the block. This square is completely covered. Nothing fits there anymore. Yeah, one of Penguin's strength is that she can adjust according to the position. So instead of playing like a normal equity game, she just plays the classic shutdown type of game, which you do when you're ahead in points by a lot. No big risks. Just take points when you can and shut down the opportunities for your opponent. So she has a curve now, and she can shut down some things for her opponent instead. Of course, she's not going to go over here. The 1 point is not worth it. Yeah, this move is very good. It limits the tiles that fit into the square in half. So now there's only one rose which fits to this square. And if blue draws it, then blue will be giving a meeple back not only to himself, but also to black's road. And this is why, for black, it is completely okay to spend her last meeple over here. She might not even get it back, although there are some tile combos which I believe do allow her to get it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, no, there are no curves remaining. So this is going to be an 8-point monastery eventually. But if she doesn't get meeples back, she's fine because she already has 14 points from these two guys. That's more than enough to outrun everything, more than enough to outrun this here field with 9 points currently under blue's control. But if blue does get himself more points by completing this here city, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 points for him, and 3 extra for the farm, then blue will give a meeple back to black. And because black is a starting player, she's going to have the last tile to herself, so she will be able to use 1 more meeple in this game no matter what, pretty much. Yaroslav decides to just drop a farmer straight away. I can understand this decision. Yeah, we can see that Miss Penguin just builds up her monastery. This, of course, is blocked. There's nothing that fits here anyway, but the purpose of this move was simply to get 1 point. Now Yaroslav is building up his field on the right, and the idea of this farmer, of course, is to get the meeple back from eventually completing this here little bit, and maybe from getting a Dorito to this square to finish a shared city in his field and give a meeple back to both parties. And actually, this is still possible. There is one of these tiles that fit into this square, but it is black who gets it. Lawyer completes an unscorable city in his field, and finally, he does get the crossroad tile to complete his city, to make the score a little bit more respectable. What is Penguin gonna do? I'm pretty sure she can just meeple the 6-point ruin at the bottom. There isn't going to be anything better. And Yaroslav now with a 4-point road, or a combo move perhaps. 2 points for the city, 2 points for the road over here. Take your pick. And yes, Miss Penguin takes this down in strong fashion as a result, of course, completing this here city early on and just running away on the scoreboard. And this is something to think about in the next game for Yaroslav, because that city just got out of control a little bit too quickly. Yaroslav, of course, did do his best with these, with this wonderful road and farmers compensation. But the power of completable cities in Carcassonne is that you not only get the points, but you also get the meeple back, and you can just turn on the scoring machine again. And this is very, very difficult to deal with. Normally needs a bunch of monasteries, which actually Lawyer didn't really draw. Well, I mean, he did, but not in a condition to meeple them, and the Penguin meepled 4 monasteries, which is very often how games are decided. Yeah, look, only plus 11, so it actually seems reasonably close, but in fact, the win percentage of Penguin reached 100, like at least 10 tiles until the end. Alrighty, so the score is 1 Taiwan, 0 Ukraine here. A reminder that this is a best of 3, so we get to see at least 1, if not 2 games of Carcassonne more. And the winner advances to the semifinals of this qualification cycle, of this qualification tournament, and the loser does not get eliminated. The loser goes to the loser bracket, where they still have 1 shot because it is a double elimination system. Anyway, now Lawyer is going to be the starting player, gets himself 4 points. Penguin with the first monastery of the game, about the best compensation you can possibly hope for. Lawyer with a new city, and Penguin now with a more difficult tile. And this is where she's going to show us her opening skills. And of course she does this. She's going to meeple the road and also leave the city cap next to her opponent's monastery. Lawyer with a bit of an imprecision here. I think it was a little bit better to start a new city in a way which does not actually help the monastery of Black too much, but it's whatever. So Lawyer now already with 8 points on the scoreboard as his cities are getting a little bit broken. Ooh, I'm not sure about this one. I'm a bit surprised about this move. I certainly expected this, but why do we have to place a meeple over here? This could be a little bit risky, because this square is very, very sensitive. This square has a sensitive soul. Make sure that you're careful with your tongue when you speak about this square. The point is that this square could get blocked, and there's some scenarios how Black gets 2 meeples blocked here. But it's okay, Black still has meeples to go around. She uses one at the top to stack monasteries, again, also in a way which I find a little bit surprising. Normally you point these road ends to the right in order to not create like more sensitive squares. There are some scenarios where like Black gets something to fit here, and then where Blue gets something to fit here, and then suddenly this here is a little bit sensitive, but it's whatevs. As she gets here first, Blue is now building up a very completable and threatening city on the right. Blue's also covered up the square completely, so now the fate of that square is tied together with this here lonely Black meeple of 2 points. Yeah, Blue is building up on the right, and let's see if Black is going to just help Blue gets away with it, and it looks like it. She builds cities on her own. The city gets restricted quite significantly with a standard maneuver there. She gets out of the bind, but immediately, of course, she gets invaded. But this is like one of the best possible tiles you could hope for. And the only reason that Black hasn't made the move right now is because there are just so many good opportunities. Option 1, we take the 5-point road, which is, but this is not what I expected. I expected that she would actually finish her monasteries and start a new one. But apparently she has different ideas about this. Yeah, one of the values of taking this 5-point road is that you don't allow your opponent to take it. So had she not made that move, she would have given this opportunity to Blue. Blue would have gone over here. So I can totally understand why she did that. Now it's a tricky decision here for Miss Penguin. I can see 3 moves, and all of them have downsides. Well, option 1, we go over here, we take 4 points, which is the standard. The downside, of course, is that we make this square quite vulnerable, and we would hate to have 2 meeples blocked here when we don't have to. Option 2 is we go over here. and we complete one of the monasteries, but then this square is kind of vulnerable a little bit, and option 3 was just ignoring both and going to the right and trying to do something about the city. She goes for quick points, which surprises me a little bit. Yeah, and Lawyer starts playing around that square a little bit, and honestly, is very close to blocking the square entirely, since there are no road monasteries remaining, but Miss Penguin does manage to save herself. And now 5 more tiles to fit into the square. 18 points are going to eventually come down to Black's board, Black's scoreboard. Blue is now doing some excellent city building project. Black is now trying to block this here square, and Blue does not get a defense, so Black is successful here. This is fantastic, fantastic news for all of our Taiwanese fans, and it's a horrible news for all of our Ukrainian fans, because this city was an important threat to have. Now, Blue is not going to have a meeple disadvantage or anything, because this city, whilst it's blocked, it also drags down Black's road anyway. If Black wants to get her road meeple back, she'd have to go here first with a dagger tile, then here with a starting tile, and then hope that she still has a road end and does not block later. So this meeple basically almost never makes it up alive. Alrighty, Yaroslav now with a lot of straight roads, which normally are a good thing for him, because this means that Black is not getting her straight roads. There are now only 3 remaining. But this also means that Blue does not get a lot of scoring opportunity other than this here road on the right. Blue's city restricted to 2 tiles only. Some quick points for Black on the left. Now Lawyer completes the loop on the right, recovers his meeple. Penguin now with a scoring tile, but not so fast. Because the only way how you can score 2 points, and she does this nonetheless, is by opening up Blue's side of this here city, which could be dangerous, but 2 points are 2 points are 2 points, decides Miss Penguin, and this here could turn into something spicy later on. Alrighty, Blue again ahead on the scoreboard with a temporary meeple advantage after completing this here road. At least these straight lines amount to something. Yeah, now this move I don't get. So if you're gonna go with 2 points, no, what are you doing, Miss Penguin? I think we can see like an inconsistency of the plan as a Lawyer gets himself a bit more quick points. So her first idea is that she wanted to take quick points, but whilst also helping her opponent a little bit. But then now she does not want to take quick points anymore. Now she goes for this here idea of going, trying to block this here square. But this is an idea she could have just committed to on her last move, and now she could have continued with that move, and I'm not sure. Like, I think you either take 2 points both of your moves, or you take 2 points neither of your moves. And she now goes for it. She's now trying to block the square. There are 3 tiles that still fits, but most notably the quadruple city tile is missing, so maybe something like this is in order in the future. Well, let's see. Black is still behind on the scoreboard, but we need to remember that these here guys are coming back at some point. Yaroslav making a bit of a non-standard move here. Starting a city instead of scoring 2 quick points. I guess he really resents the idea of giving away a city cap, and now he gives away a monastery to prevent this here blocking opportunity. Of course, there's still 3 curves remaining that could still work here as blocking tiles, and this is a very interesting stylistic difference here. So Yaroslav chooses not to meeple a monastery himself, and Miss Penguin chooses to go here for 5 points, a decision which I like quite a bit. I also like that she does not go for the farm, because she does not have the meeples to do so. And eventually, in all likelihood, this farm will belong to Blue, and she's just trying to build things around that farm to turn this. Drops a city cap next to her monastery, will be picked up by Yaroslav real quick. Hi Viha, hi Vladimir, hi Steven. Right, this is a great tile for Miss Penguin. She's now going to block her opponents. So first of all, it's a great tile for many reasons. Number one, it is one of those tiles which blue needed over here to equalize this mini battle, invade this little bigger city of black. And the second reason, of course, we go over here now. We make it much harder for blue to complete the city. Now, the most realistic chances for blue to complete the city is to draw the last splitter tile, or maybe to build up around this with multiple tiles, but this is a little bit harder. Yaroslav now getting another straight line and dropping a farmer straight away, which I do like. This field does have a lot of potential, many green squares, a lot of green squares for further development. Even this city could make it into the field at some points, like all the way through here. And most importantly, what we have to do here from blue's perspective is we have to anticipate black drawing a straight line and then dropping a farmer herself in this square. Instead, just quick points for black. And look at this. Yaroslav gets yet another straight line, meaning there's only one more remaining in the deck. So this could be one of those rare cases where blue's monastery meeples get blocked. This is so fascinating. Okay, so now a successful block is completed. Of course, it's a good tile for Miss Penguin. By not placing it to her monastery, she makes it a bit harder to complete it in the future because there are now only 2 curves remaining. But this monastery is still completable. And this city is very much not completable. Alright, so Lawyer is now building up his city indirectly, taking care of the most vulnerable square first. He's in no rush to connect over here because he's still waiting for a potential splitter tile, like this, which still exists. And this puts black into some interesting decision making. So option 1 is to take these 3 points, and I do like that move. I mean, 3 points are 3 points are 3 points after all. But an alternative was to try some breaking on the right, but I believe the scoreboard is more important. And look at this! Lawyer drawing 5 straight lines in a row, which only happens statistically like 3% of the time. Maybe even a little bit less. I think it's like 2.5%. And these 2 guys are permanently trapped. And now it is an interesting game here. Somehow, just somehow, Miss Penguin does not have a meeple disadvantage, but this is because blue's meeples have been put also to good use. This farmer is good. This ruin is very good. I kind of forgot about this. And the 3 monasteries of black are scoring 23 for her at the moment, but the field of Yaroslav could be developing still. There are a few city caps remaining in the deck. I can see at least 1 vanilla, 1 splitter, some daggers too. Yeah, and look at this. Look at Penguin. She does not want to go over here. She does not want to get herself 2 points for the road because she has no hopes of getting this road meeple back anyway, because this here end is shut off. And she can also do it later with another dagger. Maybe on her last tile, she can go over here and even claim some sort of a 6-point field in the area if she gets another starting tile to continue. Anyway, so she's just trying to block this square, basically. She's just trying to get some big tiles and not allow Yaroslav to get the last triple city tile. Yeah, I can get that. The only one issue that I do have with that move is that it is in the long term still in blue's field. So this blue's farmer over here currently covering these 2 cities. But with 1 more curve, it's going to bring this here city. And with 1 more curve, it's going to bring in this here city cap as well. Well, there we go. Now she can complete her block all she wants. Unless, how about we don't go there? Yes, exactly. Oh, this is so smart. This is so smart. Did you see the idea? Because this is a very non-standard monastery completion pattern, but she knew that there were 2 of these starting tile remaining. Of course, it doesn't help that that blue draws one, but whatever. And she now knows that it's a 75% chance for herself to get a meeple back, and it's like quite a nice thing to have. But a curve does go to Lawyer, and this city does end up belonging in the field of Lawyer, and this city also is going to belong to the field of Lawyer, and that's why I would have preferred this city cap elsewhere. And I think this was a bit of a, on one hand, some miscalculation on part of the miscalculation, but on the other hand, she did accomplish her goal that at least this square gets blocked because these triple cities with the road have gone out. So this is pretty interesting. Still Lawyer with the advantage on the scoreboard, and Miss Penguin really needs to draw the last starting tile to get herself a meeple back quite soon, preferably. Otherwise, I think the scoreboard plus the farm is a little bit too much to overcome. The farmer's 9, yeah, so this city's 10, this is 19. There's the splitter threat over here, which of course black is now trying to block. She's looking to draw some sort of road tile, which are, by the way, few and far between anyway, to block over here. And she's also setting up a splitter opportunity for herself. So let's say if she gets a starting tile, she can go over here, finish her monastery, meeple this, then get herself a splitter tile, then score 6 points for this here city and 4 points for this here city. So this is all a setup, this is all a ruse, and I have no doubt that the Ukrainian master sees through that. But what exactly do we do with a tile like this? Kind of seems to me that you just want to drop it in your field somewhere and leave it alone. You could go here in theory. But why? I don't think there's much value in trying to block this here square. I think we just have to, like, hope that our opponent does not get her tile soon enough. Or we just try to outrun her if she does. Anyway, so Yaroslav is now trying to figure out all the remaining tiles to try and plan out the pre-endgame. With 8 tiles unseen to him, it is exactly the moment where you can, if not calculate all the possible sequences, then you can kind of calculate all the possible tile groups that you can draw, all the possible tile combos, how, you know, because it's a situation where you get 4 tiles, I get 4 tiles, and it's not that difficult to go through all the opportunities, but first of all, of course, you need to figure out what those tiles are. Craftraff is saying dagger in the middle is bad because it would bring another city of blue into the farm. But, you see, if we were to have put the dagger over here, then it wouldn't be such a big deal because we know that blue had the chance to bring that city through this here area into the farm anyway, which blue did, by the way. Anyway, so a dagger for Lawyer now decides to drop it. Pretty easy decision for Penguin. I think she's going to just take 4 points over here. Or not. Well, this is something I didn't see coming. She chooses to drop a farmer. Why? She chooses to attack the field, but then Lawyer is going to score 7 for his city. I don't like this. I mean, of course, eventually you're going to need to attack the farm. But do you really need to attack it right now? Look, her pre-endgame is now very strong, and I'm sure she just knows about this position, something that I don't. But this is a very counterintuitive move. Like, normally, in a close-ish game, you have a meeple, and you can just score points. And then after scoring points, you can think about attacking the field. But let's see. Yaroslav has 2 choices. One is just scoring quick points, which is what he does, and the other one is trying to block the field entry. But there are not many tiles, if any, I was going to say, that complete the entry for Miss Penguin, and she does, in fact, get one of those. So that's nice for her. She's going to unify the field in due course, I presume, because her little side of the field is worth 6 points only, whereas Yaroslav's field is bigger, and it is worth 12 points with 4 completed cities as of a few seconds ago. Hi, Agatha. Oh, and Lawyer gets the winning tile, yeah. I don't think there's nothing much to think about. He's getting the splitter. He's going to finish the city on the right. And a great news for all Ukrainian fans. And of course he does this, he was just figuring out whether it was even worth dropping a farmer or maybe taking the new city instead, but yeah, that invasion, albeit not successful, is still worth 3 points. That farmer with 1 completed cities. Dummy is saying winning with no farmers never works for me. Yeah, this is actually something quite interesting. Yeah, so this is referring, of course, to the fact that Penguin did win her game with no farmers, and in this game she did try fight for the field and it didn't work. It kind of depends on the position, because fieldless win opportunities are not always there. Typically, if you can score a completed city, or if you score a couple of completed monasteries, or even incompleted monasteries, like if you play without the field, you need for either all the fields to be small, or if there's a big field, you need to have like multiple meeples compensating for that imbalance with some heavy features. Could be a ruin, could be completed cities, could be monasteries, something like this. And in both games, Penguin did draw monasteries, except that in this particular game, it was headed towards a fieldless win, but the 3%er was drawn by Lawyer 5 straight lines in a row, not leaving any meeples to poor Miss Penguin over here. And you could say, of course, that is quite unlucky, because 3% is really not a lot of percent. On the other hand, though, she drew some other tiles, and it meant that Lawyer had to draw 5 straight lines, which are not super valuable tiles for him anyway. So I'm going to say that the game was fairly kind of balanced-ish, despite the fact that Lawyer is going to win this with quite a healthy advantage. The advantage, though, is under 10 points. So maybe if Yaroslav does not get the splitter, then he just doesn't win. Yeah, 9 points is the advantage, which probably means that Yaroslav would have won this by a couple of points anyway, because the splitter move was worth 8 for him, and he won by 9. Yeah, I think where Black is kind of a bit unlucky is not being able to draw one of these 2 tiles. Because honestly, this was such an excellent counterintuitive setup. Like, normally you hate building your monasteries with city plus road tiles, and this looks like you're blocking yourself, but when you have 13 tiles unseen to you, and 2 of them are the ones which fit into the square, these are some excellent chances, like upwards of 80%. And yeah, it didn't just work in this particular instance. So Yaroslav is going to take this down with a classic field control game. And now we're headed into the decider. Who is going to head to the semifinals and who's going to head in the losers bracket? Miss Penguin has herself the starting player advantage yet again, and 4 points. Yaroslav with a straight line, and we know how much he loves drawing those. Black now with a non-standard move. I don't really like this in particular. I mean, I can get the idea. It's a common response where basically instead of going against your opponent's road, you just eliminate a monastery spot, but this seems to be a bit more of variance-reducing move. Anyway, so what this move does, it leaves, how to say this, is it makes for more closed positions in this game, but Yaroslav is just going to draw a monastery anyway, and now get himself 3 points on the scoreboard, also controlling the shielded tile of his monastery, which is now, of course, going to get picked up by Miss Penguin. In an interesting way, she does help with the monastery, but in this particular case, it makes sense because there's this pattern when you have 2 road pieces, 2 kind of road segments next to your city, and this is a very safe pattern because with something like this and with a lot of city tiles, it's very difficult to attack. The second safest patterns in when you have two field segments, and of course the unsafest pattern is when you have one road segment and one field segment next to your city, meaning that your opponents can attack or block the city with basically anything. And so far it's working out. As you can see, Penguin gets herself a monastery to equalize Yaroslav's monastery of his own, and Yaroslav just still, for the life of him, cannot get a tile to do anything about this potential 8-point city threat, not even right now, but a monastery over here to stack, of course, is going to be wonderful, and Black gets herself a road tile for equalization, but what she would have loved, of course, is to get something like a cow tile over here. Oh, she would have loved that so much, to try and block these two monasteries, but those are few and far between. Lawyer, again with the splitter tile. It seems that both players just keep drawing the same tile as they did last game, with the exception, of course, that finally Miss Penguin got herself one straight line, not that she needed that or anything. The city on the left gets obstructed. Now it's going to be quite some time before it can develop into a threat, which is going to be a little bit more patient here. Yaroslav with more quick points, munching, and saving some time on the clock. Miss Penguin with a city tile over here. Now it's a genuine decision. I can see 3 possible moves for her, and she makes the one which I thought was the least likely. I actually don't like that move at all. I think it's an opportunity missed for her. So first of all, I think she got to be like a bit more patient when you're trying to build up a city like this. I think I'm going to be waiting specifically for a road Dorito tile and try to build it like here. But second, she had an excellent opportunity. Wait, what did I do? Yeah, she had an excellent opportunity to go over here and try to pressure these here squares. She could have tried and played the Ukrainian technique against the Ukrainian. Let's say if she gets this horse tile over here, then a Dorito tile over here, she can try and block this. And she tries to do this with a regular city cap, which is also quite respectable. Normally, you don't want to waste a city cap on blocking, but this block is so impactful. There are only 2 tiles left to fit into the square, and eventually Black is going to try and build up over here and continue this block over later. And this is exactly what happens. And Yaroslav doesn't even get a defense tile. He just gets the tile straight away to finish his monasteries with some value. Poor Miss Penguin. It was going to be such an uphill climb for her. She now tries to block the monasteries in a different way, but Lawyer gets himself a straight line, as he loves to do so much, and he's even going to drop the first farmer in this game, probably. You have to drop a farmer there, actually. I think it's a little imprecision here from Lawyer. But basically, yeah, Penguin's going to drop a farmer here, perhaps. She doesn't have to, but Lawyer has to. Okay, let me explain this in a second. So first of all, this move is, of course, the defense of the square. We do not want our opponent to get a curve, because this would leave only one tile that fits over here. From Yaroslav's perspective, well, now you have... Okay, whatever. I was going to say you have to drop a farmer, because the idea is this. This field is working already 6 points, and whether or not you get this farm kind of is not going to really influence your winning chances. But what will influence your winning chances is the one comeback route for Black, because Black could complete this city. And if Black completes the city, then this farm is going to be worth 9 points, which means it is just enough to be worth the investment of a meeple. So I think Yaroslav being here unnecessarily stingy with his meeple. He did, however, manage to create this here vulnerability in Black's monasteries. Only one tile that fits into the square, but multiple splitters, 2 splitters available over here, so Black can still try and have her cake and eat it too and get all of her meeples back, and then that would be enough of a comeback route. So if I'm Lawyer, I'm not really too preoccupied with blocking, although I would try to go over here right now and just see if I can get myself another straight line and block this square. If I'm Lawyer, I just want to be like dropping around compensation farmers. Like I want to be finishing this row, drop a farmer here. I want to go over here, drop a farmer on the other side. I want to maybe just pick up this 7-point road. So whenever your opponent is trying to finish a big city and you're ahead, your strategy is typically just like brace for impact. And then Lawyer does something similar. Actually, I do like what he does. He just keeps the game small. He builds little teeny tiny cities on the right. Penguin with a misstep here. I No, it's just a bad move. I'm so sorry. I think this is one of those moments where this must be nerve. Like, it must be something like this, because this tile, if you ask me, no. You can't do any kind of blocking when you're down. This tile, Miss Penguin. It does not belong here. This tile belongs over here when you're trying to finish the city on the right. And the strategy with this city is twofold. If we want to block this square as Miss Penguin, then we wait specifically for crossroad tiles so that we can be as efficient as possible. We score 2 points over here, and then we try block later. Or an even better opportunity is that our opponent connects to this city, exposing another connection platform, and then we use a tile like this to reconnect and win a majority on this bigger city, and have even a different comeback route by completing a city over here. So that's a big mistake here by Miss Penguin, and I think it's just a question of tilting over here. Also, this road is interesting, maybe like a tad premature. Yeah, I felt like when she gets herself into a bad position, doesn't have quite the grit to get out of it just yet. As you can see, like, she gets all those lovely scoring tiles, but it's just not enough, as Lawyer's already passed the 50-point mark on the scoreboard with 5 meeples still untouched. Oh, boy. Alrighty, so Yaroslav with a monastery, yet another one. Curvy tile for Penguin with a blocking move, much needed blocking move, because Lawyer would have completed this city and he would have dropped a farmer even. Instead, we're going to see 2 quick points for Yaroslav, probably. Maybe some blocking ideas. But like, if you're Yaroslav, if you just don't do anything stupid, then you're gonna win. And as Penguin, like, you still, I don't think she's given up, but she has already made a few imprecisions which she absolutely cannot afford. But one thing that she does need to do is she kind of needs to create the opportunities for her opponent to make a mistake. So she needs to play in such a way that would make life more difficult for Yaroslav. Well, Yaroslav keeps scoring points. Penguin got one of her crucial tiles. Yaroslav is trying to block, and Penguin does not get a defense, and he also gets himself the farmer. I don't think she can afford to take points. I think she just has to build up. No, don't do it. This is just giving up. No. 4 points are not worth it, and you're blocking 3 of your own meeples. Not that they were particular salvage. I think it's just too much tilting. She can still, I guess, finish her cities on the left, but she has not made any progress towards finishing the cities. And, like, still, with this here tile, like, it could have been over here. It would have even been not crazy to place another one of them and just hope to not get blocked. I don't know, like, this felt like a salvageable game for such a long time. Anyway, Yaroslav is being technical here. Although this move is a slight imprecision, I don't think you need to defend that square at all. If anything, you want your opponent to spend tiles on blocking. Yeah, and 9 minutes still on her clock, which is also not great time management, because she does normally take her time, and now it seems that she is adjusting too much to her opponent's tempo. But with fast clock, Lawyer is like fish in water, and with fast clock, Penguin is like a fish in concrete. Well, a city tile for black is going to do something for her. I mean, she can get herself 1 city point. She can still try to technically complete the city. It still somehow works. The idea is that we go over here, then we go here, then we get the last dagger. And of course, in addition to that, we hope that our opponent draws tiles with which he cannot block. Yep, she does exactly this. A lawyer with the dagger, but with the wrong kind. Let's see if he just calmly continues his city, or if he chooses to do something else. Continues his road instead. Welp, there's the Dorito for Penguin. I mean, she can still, like, she can go for it. She can try. This city is quite easily blocked, but she could still try. Oh, but you know what she's thinking? It's actually not obvious which move is better. Yeah, exactly. She could have also considered a move like this. I think this is totally fine, trying to get herself 1 city cap. Lawyer is just going to go over here and take care of that threat permanently. It's a pretty easy decision. There are no daggers of this here kind, so if you just add over here, there are no daggers, no splitters, and this square is blocked. A ruin with 2 meeples is just not going to be worth enough, and this is going to take care of the last chance that Penguin might have had in this duel. Yep, and he just recounts all the tiles and does what he has to do. It was still a good move, because let's say if Yaroslav were to draw 1 more straight lines, as he loves doing so much, he could have gone over here, which would not have been a complete block. It would only have been a partial block, and then Penguin can drop a farmer over to here, then complete her city, connect to the fields, and all of these good things. Yeah, now it's just going to be plus 40 win? Maybe not quite, because she does have a lot of incompleted features, but something around that area. Yaroslav with more scoring tiles. Miss Penguin with the starting tile. Taking quick points, although this was not the only opportunity. She could have also taken quick points elsewhere. Yaroslav with a 5-point city, and Penguin with the dagger, meaning she would have drawn this or this to complete her city, but it's ain't gonna be meant to be. Yeah, and Yaroslav is going to have the fields to himself again. 18 points worth of fields. And so Penguin figures, well, I need to have a little bit for myself at least. Lawyer with a 3-point move on the left, and a road monastery for Penguin is going to complete herself with a field connection. She's going to get 3 extra points by equalizing her 3-pointer with her opponent's 6-pointer. And we're going to see what the difference is going to be. It's going to be at least 30 points. Did not quite expect such a blowout. And congratulations for Lawyer for not getting distraught after his first loss. Yeah, we can see a very stable performance here from the Ukrainian, which is also, I guess, why he is one of the 3 players who managed to make it past 800 in this year. $33 points is the difference. We congratulate Yaroslav for making it to the next stage of the tournament. We're going to see real quick who his opponent is going to be. For Miss Penguin, she goes straight into the loser's bracket. Still some chances for her, but if she wants to win this, in addition to her Carcassonne, I mean, her Carcassonne skills are normally just fine. They're in fact exceptional, but on the sports psychology, you can clearly see how she needs to work. You can even tell from the timing tells that like moves like these are not the moves of somebody who is genuinely trying to find the best chances of winning the game. So maybe getting a little bit too disappointed after Yaroslav drew too many straight lines in that previous game. Anyway, we're going to wish her the best of luck, but now let's see what is next for us. So first of all, let's have a look at the bracket. Now, first of all, Lloyd is going to go over here where he's going to play either Phosphate or IMD5, and Phosphate, despite being newer to this game, they're probably the favorites because they're progressing so fast. And as somebody who plays both Azul and Carcassonne competitively, I know that you can learn a lot of things from Azul and apply to Carcassonne and vice versa. Oscar, of course, the more experienced tournament player. DevDeed against Rabbit Rain, that's on Friday. I'm going to stream that one too. Definitely not missing that. Rabbit Rain has to be the favorite. I mean, honestly, they are, I was going to say the main favorites, or at least the main favorites together with... Wait. The main favorite, I think, together with Nalaheim to win this qualification cycle. So this means that there's this fourth encounter, which I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's happening. And if Otto wins, which is the most likely outcome, it's not the only possible outcome, but it's the most likely one, then we might see Nalaheim against Rabbit Rain as early as round 2 of the international qualifiers. Yum! Anyway, so we're going to be following those closely. Now let's just have a look at what else we have coming up. Really nothing much. I mean, there's a lot of matches in Q1 and Q2. So Q1 is for second place finishers of national online championships of most countries. Q2 is for first place finishers of national championships of newer countries, and third place finishers of national championships of established countries. Q3, of course, is for winners of international tournaments. Q4 is for players with the highest rating. Yeah, so this is the one that we're covering. And then in general, these matches come at a short notice. I think I'm going to cover something from Q1 and Q2. It kind of depends on the time a lot. So I really want to cover Maciej Polak against Kerry Alley on the 30th of November, and of course Tomaszek versus Napalm Eye, because this is my teammate playing. Other than that, there might be some other things on a really short notice, so just make sure that you subscribe for this channel for more competitive Carcassonne content like this, and click the bell notification icon, and of course meeple the like button if you liked this video. Now time to get back to doing other things. I hope this improved your day. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'ma see you soon.